Hello. Today we unpack the explosive meeting between AfriForum Solidarity and officials from Donald Trump's administration. A memorandum was delivered, one that demands land exclusively for Afrikaners, an end to Black economic empowerment policies, and increased security funding for Afrikaner communities. But is this just lobbying or a bold push for their own separate state? This Washington memorandum argues that Afrikaners are a Western community indigenous to Africa. It goes further, claiming that the ANC has violated a 1994 agreement that was meant to protect minority rights. It paints Afrikaners as a persecuted group under siege from government policies, racial laws, and violent crime. The memorandum does not just stop at complaints, it asks for something much bigger: recognition of an Afrikaner-controlled enclave, independent in governance, security, and education. So let's ask the big question. Is this a strategic plea for their rights or a veiled attempt to carve out a separate Afrikaner state within South Africa? The Washington Memorandum outlines several demands, including US pressure on South Africa to classify farm murders as priority crimes, condemnation of politicians advocating violence against Afrikaners, and the repeal of the Basic Education Laws Amendment Act, which it argues threatens Afrikaans language schools. It also proposes an Afrikaner Development Fund to finance security structures, social infrastructure, and concentrated settlements for Afrikaners in vulnerable areas. Further, the memorandum highlights concerns over expropriation without compensation and urges the US to intervene by pushing for an amendment to remove the zero compensation clause from the newly signed Expropriation Act. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has slammed AfriForum and Solidarity for running around the world to solve their problems, calling it divisive.
We need to be sending a clear message to them that as far as we are concerned, as proud South Africans, we prefer that we should all stay here and solve our problems. And already what they are doing has spawned divisions in our nation. And that is not a nation building process of running around the world to try and have your problems solved. You are just sowing divisions, because now a number of South Africans then start looking at others.
And when a group with vast land ownership, 75% of South Africa's farmland, starts seeking security structures, cultural institutions, and funding for Afrikaner development zones, it draws scrutiny. The historical echoes are undeniable: apartheid-era homeland policies, international lobbying efforts, and minority self-rule. And now the reintroduction of Afrikaner vulnerability on the world stage. Could we be witnessing the foundation for a future Afrikaner state? This debate is far from over, and as international players take notice and tensions rise, we'll be watching closely. Thank you for joining us. Stay with the African News Network as we continue to follow these developments and more.